What's going on, guys? It's the WWE fan guy coming at you with another video today. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the greatest stables of all time. I know the first one is a little early because these three young men are very still in their prime and very have a lot of WWE life ahead of them. But I really think the Shield has to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, stables of all time. But yeah, before we get into anything, we're gonna be talking about the greatest stables of all time, which is the greatest tag teams. That could be stable is mean that is more than a tag team, which can be 2 to 4 or 5 people in a tag team, which is formed into a stable. That's why it's called a stable, which is a group, which is one of the best groups out there. There's a lot of them out there in WWE, but yeah, the first one has to be the Shield. They accomplished so much from them. I think they total of all of them, they have over, I don't know how many championships, but they have over 14, 15 championships that they won from all three of these guys. I think Seth and Dean and Roman, they're all Grand Slam champions from Reigns and all them. And yeah, they won, they pretty much won all the belts. I know Dean and Seth still haven't won the Universal Champion, or Roman Reigns. He still hasn't won it yet, and I think that's the only belt that they haven't won yet. But other than that, they are Grand Slam champions, and they accomplished so much. I think they got in the WWE around 2012, 2013, so they accomplished much over 5 to 6 years, and that's really a big accomplishment for all these three guys. You know, being a dominant stable, beating Evolution twice. Um, you know, trying to think of something else. They changed the complexion of the WWE. It was pretty much, not get a phrase from Roman Reigns, but it was pretty much their yard. All three of these guys' yard, and they pretty much dominated WWE, and it was very awesome. How they came out. Coming from the fan area of the party. They had a very unique entrance, and it was just mind blowing at the time when I watched them. And they were just a creative tag team, and I loved all of them gelled really quick in the WWE, and that's why I think they're just one of the best tag teams on. When history comes along and these guys reflect on their career, and WWE reflects on their career, they're gonna come. If not the dominant greatest stable of all time, I just think they're all great. And yeah, that's number one for me. But yeah, we're gonna do top 5 staples, guys. That's number one. The next one is DX. DX is one of the greatest stables of all time. They they changed the Attitude Era. They competed against WCW back in the day. They had a lot of pressure during that time. They made WWE WWF. Well, during that time it was called WWF. Watchable. They're very entertaining. Doing these little segments. I remember when they came in a tank. All that. They were just a cohesive group, and they're very full of personality of these groups, and they're gonna go down as one of the best in history. They all were great, especially Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Who knows how many championships they won? I think Triple H is like a 13 champion, and then you have Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. When you have those two meshed together, it was just one of the best tag teams of all time, and they're a great staple during that time, and just a fun group to watch, and they're very funny, they're very watchable, and they're just very entertaining. They pretty much changed the complexion. They're one of the people that changed the complexion. There's so many wrestlers that changed the complexion, but they're one of the big reasons why they changed the complexion in WWE history. So yes, number two. Number three is Evolution. Number three, you had Randy Orton, you had Ric Flair, you had Triple H, you had Batista. Um, they were badass during that time. They were like the top heels. You had they had Ric Flair, the little mentor of all of them, and then you had the young Randy Orton that was barely blossoming into a young prime main eventer, and he strived for greatness. And you had Batista learning from the all those guys, and Batista grew into his own and made a big main eventer led by Triple H, who was already a main eventer at the time. And all these guys had different attitudes, different egos, but they all seemed to work together at the same time as heels, and they were just one of the best and very dominant group during that time. And it was just fun to see them. They were just very dominant. Had everything in control. They had everything in their hands during that time. You know, um, it was just cool to see a stable like them, because they were just they worked well all together. Even in a short time, they changed a lot of stuff. Even though they didn't stay that long as a group, they just seemed so dominant. In that little short amount of time, and they're one of the best stables of all time. Number 4 is a legendary group. It's called NWO. NWO had Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and then Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the immortal one, led by Hulk Hogan. And then, NWO changed WCW. They were not in WWE or WWF, it was called at the time, but they competed with, WWF. They competed against, the other tag team was DX, but they had their own show. They were they're very original, very different tag team. They, not to mention, they had so many people that joined their group at the time. They were just very dominant. They're very great and stable, and they all had success. And at the time, it was awesome to see the NWO. Because they're very watchable TV. I barely remember them, but when the times I watched them, they were just dominating, and they were turning the WCW around and turning it to something big. They were one of the best WCW stables of all time. If not, they had the best WCW stable of all time over there, and that company. But yeah, that was cool to see them coexist all together, and they're tag team legends. They're always being in the legend book of the greatest stables of all time. But yeah, that's number 4. And number 5, but not least, is the Four Horsemen. This was a long time ago. This was Ric Flair still had long hair. I remember Four Horsemen. I never grew up watching them. I was a little too young to. I was a little too young for them to for watching them, because I wasn't born when I wasn't born when I saw them at stable, but they were a little before they were there before my time. So it was very hard for me to remember these guys. They were like I think they were like around the 70s. And this, like, they formed a stable around the 70s. They were the Four Horsemen. They had led by Ric Flair. I don't know, I forgot the other guy's name. I think they were like Big Boss Man, but I don't think it was him. I think it was I'm trying to remember his name. Oh man, should have looked it up before I did this video, right? But yeah, it was led by Ric Flair, and I know that one of the guys are one of the best tag teams. One of the best Intercontinental champions. I forgot his name. Is it Paul Orndorff? I don't know. But yeah, I know the guy far in the end with the one in the black shirt. I forgot his name though. Orndorff and some other guys on there. I forgot their names, but they were the Four Horsemen. They pretty much created where the stables. They pretty much created the stables of all best stables of all time. They opened the stage for all the stables out there. They couldn't have it. They're one of the best groups. They're legendary in WWE, and they were just one of the best. And the Four Horsemen, they would go down in history as one of the best. Led by Ric Flair, and they pretty much set the opened the doors for the Four Horsewomen. So yeah, like Charlotte, and which is Ric Flair's daughter, Sasha and Bayley and Becky Lynch. They pretty much opened the doors for them. But yeah, guys, That's my top five favorite stables, or top five stables, best stables of all time. Let me know what you thought of my video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks again for watching. Bye.